Fantastic man. He had the highest IQ when he went in the Army of anybody at Fort Dix in Indianapolis.
Is that right?
Well, at that time, the highest IQ was 150, and his was 147. They never had one that high before. They thought he'd be an officer, but he didn't want. He turned down every chance to be an officer because he didn't want to stay in the Army any longer. He have to, because he wanted to get back and marry his girlfriend. I have some nieces that live in L.A. Wonderful ladies. They're the daughters of my sister, and then there's two other daughters and a son from my brother. So, but they're very close. Now they all live in L.A. and they're all involved with the movie industry. Yeah. The oldest daughter has an interesting job. She puts the sound in the movies. All the sound that you hear in a movie, except the voices, are put in by these people like her. Everything you hear, they can duplicate. I asked her, well, how do you do the sounds when they're having a big battle like they have in some of these early, like the swords and so forth? She said they do it in layers. They have special sound with the swords banging each other, and sounds with people yelling, and sounds of people dying. Also, it's all sort of like layers that they put in there to make it sound realistic. It's amazing what they do. And one daughter, one of the nieces is a film editor. She's been very big time. She's done a lot of popular movies she's filmed, and her husband's a producer. He's produced a lot of famous movies. I don't know if you saw the movie Out to Sea with Laura Matthau.
Yeah.
Yeah, he produced that one.
Oh.
And see what about the little girl? Forget the name of that. About the little children, little girls. I forget the name of it. But it was up for an Academy Award. And I know his name on about the pet detective. What's his name? Pet Detective. You remember that movie? The one with the pet detectives?
Yeah, Ace Ventura. But
Yeah. That was the one.
Oh, is that name of it? Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, the memorial service they had for my sister, a lot of those actors were there. I've seen, in the movies. Came to see him because he's producer. It was interesting. They're all involved in movies. Their father, who passed away, was a fantastic actor, and he had a repertory theater in Sherman Oaks for children, and put on a lot of plays, and so they all grew up learning how to act and so forth. And living there in L.A. and Hollywood, they caught up with it. No, I think we all got our looks from my dad. Everybody in the family, all the nieces and nephews and everyone are all very good looking and highly intelligent. My nephew had a big advertising company in L.A. for a long time. He finally got tired of it, and now he's one of the top photographers in the country. He's had his picture on the front of Photograph magazine. He invented a lot of things for that. The whole family is highly intelligent. Really amazing. I'm the least intelligent of all. Well, I've always had the problem with memory, and I didn't realize it because I had a rough time in grade school and high school. And yet when I went in the Army, I found out I had a high IQ, so I didn't think it didn't make sense. Then I remember they were talking about total recall and so forth, and I realized because when I went to Arby's management school, we had stuff that we had to learn and memorize, and I went over and over and over that, and I was the second highest on when they took the test of all of it, because repetition helps my memory, and I didn't know that when I was going to school, because to graduate, to go in the Army, I went through it in 3.5 years, but I had to take special tests to do that, and I really crammed, I guess that's what they still say, crammed, and I just sailed through all those tests, and the teacher said, why didn't you do it the rest of the year? I didn't know, because I didn't know that that's what I had to do. Second wife. My first wife, we didn't last very long. It didn't work out.
Oh.
But the second wife, the mother of my two girls, she came into the drugstore one day and wanted a job. I went back to the pharmacist who was the manager of the store, I just worked there. I wasn't the manager. He was the manager. I said, "There's a girl in here. Hire her." That's my big mistake. I said. We got very romantic later on, and we eventually got married and had the two daughters. Everything seemed to be 12 years. I worked married for 12 years. I worked at one of my business, always in retail. I was with Arby's Restaurants for 12 years, where I was owner-operator of one right across the street from Penn State University. And I moved here and got a job. I don't know how long you've been here, but there used to be Carl's Toys, big toy store, chain. I managed it for 12 years. And when I turned 65, I retired. Got a part-time job for a while. Well, as I mentioned, my aunt.
Yes.
My first trip to California, I knew my aunt was living here, so after being around doing things in LA and so forth, I came up here to visit with her, and I fell in love with Santa Barbara. So every time I had a vacation, every 2 or 3 years, I'd come out here and visit with my aunt for a while. A couple times I lived here for a short time, but this time I moved here in '80, and I've been here ever since. I just love Santa Barbara. As I told you, I manage or was owner-operator of businesses. And the thing I like best about being retired, no more responsibility, no more pressure. I can do what I want to do. If I want to go someplace, you can walk over 2 blocks and catch the shuttle up and down State Street, or do anything. I used to have a car, but the car broke down, and I just couldn't afford to get it fixed anymore. So I've been without a car for about 3 or 4 years. I was sent to Arby's Management Training School first, and then after I got out to manage a store, but it wasn't quite ready yet. And there were 3 other Arby's around that were having a lot of trouble. They didn't know what the hell they're doing, so they sent me, and I got them all straightened out. Bloomington, Indiana, and Anderson, those 3 cities, and got them started. Then when I was hired, I ran it for a while, and then I decided to leave and come to California because my ex-wife was driving me nuts. And the co-owner of the Arby's I managed, and some of the other Arby's that I helped out, asked me to take over as owner-operator of the Arby's that he purchased a franchise in Pennsylvania. Now, when I ran it, all we had was just a roast beef sandwich and a delicious Jamocha shake, and it was just fantastic. When I was starting, it was at the very beginning, more or less, and we used really the roast beef, and we knew how to cook it and prepare it and how much to do, and it was just melt in your mouth, so delicious. They were 69 cents then.
They were 69
And I put a
cents.
coupon in the college paper for get 2 for $1.
2 complete
2
sandwiches.
for $1. And I put a whole lot of coupons in because there was more students than there were paper, so I want to be sure everybody got them. And that really went over big. That was only on certain occasions I did that, but it went over big. And they loved it. Oh, my biggest fun in my life was from 50 to 58, I had nothing but sports cars. And I loved them. I raced them and gymkhana, hill climbs, everything. Once I did one race, and the biggest fun I ever had because I was passing everybody. One of the first foreign car dealerships was in Indianapolis, Auto Imports, and they had this MG that were going to race, and they asked me, because I must have had a reputation, because they asked me to drive racing for them. I jumped at the chance, and I had a ball. I thought I won the race because I passed everybody I could think of, and then I found out I came in 4th. And the guy that I was racing the last few laps, his nose was right next to me, so I beat about half a car length. So I came in 4th and he came in 5th, but it was still fun. I loved every bit of it, never bit. That's why I have to ask about why people race, because they have fun racing, they enjoy it. There was 30 stock MGs for a 50-mile race, and I was right in the middle of them. So as soon as I could, I started weaving my way through bunches of cars. Oh, I'd love to have another sports car. Oh, yeah. I had a beautiful MGA, which was one of the beautiful, nice design MGs. It was the best family car I had. And my wife said, we can't take a honeymoon in that little car, so I had to sell it. That's the last time I had a sports car.